Hello and welcome to a walk on a rather cold and grey day in January. I'm re-recording the commentary to this because I managed to forget to take my windproof microphone with me. Anyway, today I was walking with Louise, and this is the first of 6 walks we're doing just in preparation for one that will connect up 6 walks, forming a sort of pilgrimage, looping through Dorset in May later this year. There we are, looking across to the peninsula of Portland, the Fleet Lagoon behind the Chesil Beach, and down there that's the location of the Abbotsbury Swannery, the only managed swannery in the world where you can walk in among the mute swans. It's a great place. We've already climbed a little bit, so we were quite happy to see a seat, though a bit early to sit down. This one's got a dedication. It says, "For Daff," and then "Never lose height," which is good advice on certain types of walk, perhaps not this one. But we're actually going to have to gain height a bit more now. See you in a minute. St Catherine's Chapel, Abbotsbury, sitting above the village of Abbotsbury. That way round to the sea, and it overlooks. There's the village. Formerly, of course, a large Benedictine abbey dominated that until the time of Henry VIII, when it was, of course, abolished and mainly demolished. And there's Lou, just checking her backpack. And this is me. Hello. One of the great things about walking in Dorset, it's possible some people watching this video have never been here and are wondering whether to come with us on a long walk here in May. I hope you're going to think about it. One of the great things is villages that are drop-dead pretty and often really interesting historically as well. Abbotsbury is one of them. That's where we are. If our camerawoman would like to rotate in an anti-clockwise direction, you'll see up the street there cottages and buildings in lovely, rather yellow local stone. There's the pub. And up in this direction is where we're going to go, but we've got a north wind in our face today, so I've got to put my hat on. Let's go. Well, that was me live. Now back to the studio, as they say. St Catherine's Chapel is on a hill, but we've climbed a lot higher now, up towards the South Dorset Ridgeway. There's the chapel, and swinging round among those trees is Abbotsbury's famous subtropical gardens. A little bit of smoke rising from among the trees there. A lot of this walk is through dairy country. Big green fields, not a lot of biodiversity, I'm afraid. There's a cheese factory in one of the valleys nearby. There's Lou. So we're in quite high country here. But the walk itself includes plenty of ups and downs, and just ahead something rather special. What are these stones? Well, this is the Kingston Russell Stone Circle. This part of Dorset is tremendously rich in prehistoric remains in terms of burial mounds and hut circles where people used to live, but hardly any stone circles survive. This is probably the largest of the ones that do. Wonder what it meant to the people who lived here back in the day. But it lies right by our path. Coming down out of the high country, we get to a farm with this lake. This little pond here. I was just admiring it. And Louise pointed out that you can see the water rippling in certain places and completely flat in others. That's because this pond has ice still, a thin layer of ice over the top of it. Just to prove this is the last week in January. Wish I'd held the camera a bit more steady. Yes, this is one of the more interesting places we go past. And sadly, I don't know its history. Belmont House, fine lion on the top there. But our lane goes steadily up and it's getting steeper. That's a ridge we crossed earlier. Those trees you see on the skyline are right by that stone circle. We've been down in the valley and now we're coming up again. Here are a couple of the Bronze Age round burial mounds. I mentioned this area is very rich in them. We're actually crossing land of Long Barrow Farm, there it was, because on the skyline there are one or two long barrows. These were the form of communal burial chamber. They came before the Bronze Age. Round barrows. We saw lots of, we saw deer, buzzards, alpacas, but this chap, we had to stop and say hello. He has a very fine beard and long mane. I'm afraid I didn't have any food for him, and that's probably what he was hoping for. Look at that beard. Okay, old chap. Well, not far to go now. The low winter sun means that the afternoon shadows come early. And just going into shadow there, the village of Compton Valence, our destination for today. And all downhill from here. As we come into the village, you really can't visit Compton Valence at this time of year without mentioning that it's famous for its snowdrops. People do literally come from miles around to walk or drive through the village and look at all the lovely snowdrops on the banks. And this last week in January, they're just beginning, some of them, to open. Compton Valence.